Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Art of Affiliate Management. Today is with me Mariia Melnyk. I pronounced it correctly?
Perfect.
Perfect. Working with so many Ukrainian people, I got in the groove for that. An international corporate lawyer, so I have to be careful what we are saying here, who brings a deep expertise in international legal structuring, tax strategies, and helping digital entrepreneurs to find the right jurisdictions to thrive. She covers a topic today that is unfortunately touching me and a lot of other online people there a lot, but more about it later on. We had the pleasure to meet in Barcelona during the TikTok meeting at ConversionConf. So shout outs to the people that are organizing this. And yeah, it was great to meet them. And she spoke there about the company setup for online marketing people and how things are changing and how other countries, beside the usual suspects like Cyprus and Dubai, where everybody knows, hey, this can be interesting to found a company, but there are more alternatives, and some are maybe exotic but very interesting. Super thrilled to have you here and learn something about that. Hello, Mariia.
Hi, Stefan. First of all, thanks for the invitation. I'm excited to be here and talk about legal side of business. And to introduce myself shortly, I'm an international lawyer, a founder of Dilex Group, an international law firm focused on helping entrepreneurs, like you said, build solid legal and tax structures for their global business. So we've supported over 200 clients in IT, affiliate marketing, and digital services, guiding them through smart company setup, cross-border tax planning, contracts, banking, compliance, and everything in between. And going back to the TikTok meetup at Conversion Conf in Barcelona, that was such a great event. I love the energy, I love the crowd, questions, comment, and our matching pink look with you, Stefan,
Yes,
was
true.
so great.
But did we had them at the same day or one after the other?
One after the other, yeah, but it would be really cool to have it in one day, so we can
So
just repeat
now
it.
we are connected. We will align that for the future. So conversion conf TikTok meetup, please invite us again that we can match our
Absolutely.
outfits. So
Yeah.
okay, let's dive into the not so funny stuff. And the first question that I have is about countries that make decisions that thrive online entrepreneurs, so entrepreneurs in general away. And I want to give you now the example from Romania. Romania practically doubled the dividend tax within like a year. And additionally, they increased also the VAT and some other smaller things. So it's messing up the calculations of the people. It's costing everybody a lot of money. And as an online entrepreneur, it's easy to found a company somewhere else. Why are countries even making this type of decisions?
Yeah, you're right about the changes in Romania rate was a dividends tax rate, and also they changed the rules for the micro entities, micro enterprises. And like to be brief, when a country suddenly raises taxes like Romania did recently, it creates uncertainty, of course, for the entrepreneurs in digital and affiliate business, and in general, stability is a key, right? If tax rules change too quickly, it's a signal that business environment might not be reliable, because it's super important for everyone to have a predictable and clear rules. We all want to know rules before we start acting, and this calls predictability. And it's not just about Romania. Even traditional attractive jurisdictions are making these changes. Like, for example, the United Arab Emirates, they introduced 9% corporate tax in 2023. And it's not to scare away business, of course, but to meet international rules and avoid being seen like a tax haven. So,
Mhm.
across the EU, many countries have recently changed corporate tax rules, residency program, or rules for the digital services. And like I said, often it's not about only scrutinizing making problems for the entrepreneurs, let's say. They can be about following European Union standards, global tax and compliance standards, because all of this changes, and fixing budgets and or updating social system. And like a very short takeaway, low tax rates alone are not enough. You need to understand why a country sets these taxes and the way it does, and whether that approach will last. Because we need to know the timing also, right? Like I said, the predictability is a key. Because when you know the rules, you can prognose how you want to act. And as a best jurisdiction for business today are not just low tax, they should be stable and predictable, so you can plan your business for a long term. That's a key.
Okay, we will come to some of these places that are stable and offer still attractive tax rate, because it's the two things that matter. So as I learned now, there are more motivations for the countries beside cashing in more money. I was not thinking about international standards that are maybe need to be fulfilled. So let's speak about the online marketers that want to set up international companies. Are there any other motivation beside paying lower taxes for them as well to go and set up shop in a different place than where they are maybe living?
Mm. Yeah, there are lots of different motivation. Can be often entrepreneurs and online business. They decide to set up company internationally to solve many problems, like entering new markets. Right? If you want to enter new markets, you start thinking about where, how, and with what legal setup. Looking for stability and clarity in legal, tax, and economic matters. That's also key. What's always important is a protecting of personal and corporate assets. More money you raise, more you want to be protected. Securing a global status as a participant of international market. Protecting business reputation is also very important, and the jurisdiction can influence that. Of course, like we've been already discussed, optimizing taxes and avoiding heavy bureaucracy. That's a very important reason that client looking for. Finding new clients in new markets is also very important reason, right? Accessing new payment options and finding new payment solution, because to have a right payment strategy and being able to send money to your contractors, it's important, and not all legal setups allow us to do that. Attractive investments. We will talk about it later, but it's really also important to have a right corporate legal structure to be interested for the investors. And building a stable and corporate structure that will remain highly resilient to emerging global risks that we have so many right now. And so, like, to continue the reasoning, I can go on. There are many. There
Please
can be,
do. The
yeah,
Zoom is not
but
ending automatically after 10 minutes.
yeah, but let me just give you, kind of brief example of the reasoning, a practical key. Like one of the affiliate team we work with, they had already a good traffic going through the multiple jurisdiction with a standard corporate tax rate 20-25%, which is not low, but kind of standard for many European countries, kind of heavy reporting obligation and slow bureaucracy, which is also kind of standard. And it was eating into their profit and, of course, wasting their time. So we helped to restructure them through the United Arab Emirates. So they had zero corporate tax under the small business regime, plus access to solid banking. That one move saved their margin and let them earn more. And another example with IT developer from the Eastern Europe. His US customers from the United States wanted contracts only with a US entity.
Mm.
And this might happen, right? You probably already heard a lot about that. And by opening a Delaware company, he kept his European team, but could bill the US clients locally. So that's kind of,
So they had to, you had to set up one company just for one client practically.
it depends. It depends, right? It depends on the case. There is no standard algorithm, but
Mm.
sometimes your client may be so important for you and taking into account the revenue he can bring, right? That it might be interesting for you to incorporate company for one big client if it will help to um, build the right payment solution, build contracts, set up, and help you to optimize the taxes. And if it's also required by client or, like I said before, by investors. One more and last example with investment that I already started talking about. We've seen a lot of cases when investors walked away just because the company was not in the right jurisdiction. And one of our clients, one founder, had to set up a UK company to meet investors' requirement.
One question, which country it was before? Was it somewhere really exotic like Burkina Faso or like,
Yeah, something
ah,
like
it was
that.
like something like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm.
So yeah, and so like the investors usually they want to have a clear structure and to see that company in the stable jurisdiction, and for that it might be a very important reason when the business move the corporate structure to the other country.
We will come to the point how big is the effort to set up a company somewhere else. But as a quick question already in between, these people, they have to fly to the US or United Arab Emirates to set it up, or is this something that can be all done online or local and with like I don't know, notary papers or something like this?
Yeah, so we will talk about it also a little bit in details later, but usually, the modern country, let's say, who are moving together with all digital trends, they are digitalizing the process. So many things can be done online. Like in UAE, everything we can do remotely now, same with US. Uh, at some points, you may be asked to come for not for incorporation of company, but probably for if you want to receive the visa, residency visa, for instance, buy property or something else, then you may need to go to the country. But for opening company, for company incorporation, no need to come there.
Mhm. Okay, thank you very much for that. Um, so we spoke about already some countries that make it harder for the people, and also that the real tax havens are making things maybe tax-wise at least not that interesting. But what are at the moment booming countries, maybe countries that people don't even know about, that are interesting for IT founders, affiliate marketers, and all this kind of people that are the millions of people that are watching this channel here?
Mm, that's a good question, and probably my answer will be the longest one because there is something to talk
I can
about.
make another coffee in the meantime. I just run out of it. Then
Sure,
I make
sure.
this. Another machine is too loud. So
Take your time and share it with me. I would love to try coffee from your machine.
best one.
Lovely. So, when people ask me which country is the best for setting up business right now, I always say start with yourself. What's your business model? Your licensing needs, your growth plan, it all matters. There's no single perfect jurisdiction, but there's always one that is perfect for you. So that said, we do have and our clients have certain favorites, but each of clients and of these countries they have its own unique story and unique combination. So to start with a list. Are you ready
Mm.
for the
Ah, you
for the
have
one?
even a list? Okay. Boo. Yeah,
No,
the lawyer is
I
of
mean
course
I mean the
prepared.
list of countries, the
Yes,
list of
yes, yes.
countries, of
Okay.
course. So Like it's not just 1, 2, 3. I wanted, I want to give some algorithm because if viewers, listeners will interested in needs, they can have some guidance, and that's going to be a benefit, right? So let's start with the USA, America. It's not just about very popular Delaware and Wyoming. You probably already heard about the states, right? Because it's kind of well
The
known.
Delaware one, yes. The Wyoming is also new for me.
Yeah, it's also a very popular state. So yeah, they are very classics, but what is interesting, with the right structure, like a disregarded entity, you can legally pay zero tax on non-US sourced income if you are non-resident for the US. And to that, law set up cost, simply yearly reporting, which is kind of really simple, and easy management, and you have a structure that is practical and is well recognized. And here is the key point. Having a US company often opens door to US clients, partners, and investors.
This is what you mentioned, yeah.
Yeah, that's really important. We've seen a lot of cases when investors wanted to and was ready to invest money to the business with a legal structure in US. The other one is UK, which means credibility and trust both in Europe and worldwide. Opening and running a company here is relatively low cost, and you can, like, that's answering your question. You can do almost everything remotely, and it's also highly trusted because it's UK by payment system and by banks. Kind of simple reporting, everything comparable, but in general, we have a lot of cases to compare. So we can say that it's kind of simple reporting and accounting rules and easy to manage, even if you're not based in the UK. So also answering your question, UK is a good option if you want to operate, firstly incorporate, and then operate it remotely. And there are also kind of interesting legal structures like limited liability partnership and limited partnership, which allows you to operate, to establish this partnership in UK. But if you don't generate income from the UK, and if you're not a resident of UK, then you will not pay any taxes in UK. You will need to report, but you are not obliged to pay taxes in UK. Instead of that, you need to pay taxes in the country of your tax residency. And if it's lower, then you also can benefit from this structure. So the other country that you already mentioned, Cyprus. Cyprus has been a steady for years, and for good reason. Why? With one of the lowest corporate tax rate in the UAE, it's only 12.5, which is comparable and kind of a low for the, let's say, Europe in general. Plus a special IP regime tax qualifying IP income just for 2.5%. And it's
What does that mean?
IP, intellectual property.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a strong choice for a tax structure. And what's more, no withholding tax on dividends, no interest or royalty to the non-residents. And to sum up, just with the right setup and staying only 60 days per year in Cyprus is enough to qualify for tax residency. That's a good reason. And you know that I really like UAE, and we've been already discussed this topic with you. It's still one of the world's most attractive hub. Why? There is no personal income tax. You're generating money from salary, from the dividends, or from your personal investment, but you don't need to pay taxes because there is no personal income tax. And the corporate tax of just 9% of profit, around 102K a year. So if your corporate profit, like the profit of your company, is not above this amount, not about 102K a year, then your taxes will be zero. Everything that will be more, then you will need to pay 9% on the rest. But the first part will be going under the zero taxation. And small business with a revenue under around, why I'm saying Iran, because it's fixed in the dirhams, but we convert it according to current exchange rate, which will be 816,000 a year. This K thousand, double. So this corporation, this small business will still enjoy zero corporate tax. For now, it's until December 2026, but who knows, maybe they will prolong this regime. Plus, you can open a traditional local bank account, something that's getting harder in many parts of the world to open corporate bank account, but still very possible in UAE. And here's a bonus: set up a company and you can get a residence ID. Like just setting a company, you're already allowed to apply for the residency. The confidentiality is very high. And in the UAE, foreigners can open multi-currency business and personal bank accounts. And from our clients, we know that it helps to save money on the conversion rates when you need to pay your contractors in the different currencies, like dollars, euro, Great Britain pound, Hong Kong dollar, and all the rest, dirhams. You're losing money on the conversion rate if you don't have accounts in the different
I feel
currencies,
that every month.
right? So yeah, that's a key.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can obtain tax residency in UAE by spending only 90 days per year in the country. So whether you want to optimize or lower, make your tax burden lower, protect your assets, or relocate your business legally and efficiently, the UAE is a very powerful choice, I should say. So there are a few more. Are you still with me?
Mm-hmm.
Is it still interesting for you?
Yeah, but I'm working in my head what is the best thing for me. So, but yeah.
Oh, Stefan, this we should discuss personally on
Yeah,
one
but
of the
it's
conference.
just like I digested a little bit because we are all affected by this, and yeah, we come to this later on. Also, how to make it in a way that it's like okay, legal wise, nobody wants to I don't know, not pay the taxes that they are obliged to. But okay, what other countries you have in your list
Just a
after
few
UAE?
more. Just a few more. So briefly, Qatar. Qatar is an emerging player worth watching. Its free zone offer up to 25-year tax holidays with 0% tax on the export services. Also no personal income tax for now, and only 10% corporate tax for the activities inside Qatar. And it's actively positioning itself as a business hub, especially for companies targeting the Gulf and Asia regions. The other one, which you of course know about this country, but maybe don't know about very interesting regimes there, Georgia. It's a
Yeah,
nice,
it comes up
highly,
more and more now.
right? Yeah, it's highly fair. It has highly favorable option. So, and why is that? IT companies can access special tax regime called virtual zone or international company by setting up an limited liability company there, but they will need to relocate core staff responsible for creating IT products to Georgia. And having this set up, you may benefit from 0% corporate tax on export income. So if your contractors will be out of Georgia, you can benefit from that. And for companies taxed under the general regime, there are also kind of very favorable and very beneficial regime. Georgia applies, let's say, Estonia model. I think you are familiar with that one. So the profits are not taxed until distributed, with a flat 15% tax rate applied only at the moment of the distribution. So combined with a low setup cost, Georgia offers a highly efficient and favorable base for the global business. There are also very interesting options for the private entrepreneurs, which might be interesting for you.
That is the most people that we have. The most people that are watching this are practically a one-time show. They have maybe teams, they are part of a bigger team or something like this, but everything is with freelancers, not with employees.
Yeah, I mean, like you need to have a legal structure there, right? And some countries they asked about setup inside of the country, like having employees, like core employees. But some countries they don't even like UAE. They are not required you to have employees locally. So it depends on the case of case basis, and each case needs to be analyzed in details with what it is right now at the present moment and how we want to see it, how the business owner want to see it in the future, and taking into account what we discussed with you at the start. It's very important to analyze how long this regime was already serving the country, because it gives some predictability. If it's moving back and forth and changing all the time, it doesn't give predictability, and you cannot feel like you can rely on this system.
That is what we have here in Romania now, that every year they change 2 or 3 important things.
Yeah, that's not the best case scenario, because the predictability actually, if even to take the fundamental legal rules and principles, the predictability is a core principle of rule of law. And everything based on the rule of law, especially in the Europe and European courts, they taking into account this very important principle. So predictability for people is very important, and for the entrepreneurs, for business, it's very important, because we like I said, we need to know the rules before starting game.
Mm.
So to finalize my list, we are almost at the end. Very popular Hong Kong.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that you.
My guess was that you have as the last one Moldova, because Republic Moldova seems to pop up in certain cases now as well.
Yeah, Moldova with a like they also have a kind of Moldova and Bulgaria. They have, and let's say Hungary, they also had not the highest rate, but remember we also talked about bureaucracy. And we should say that these countries are still in the old Europe system.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easy to manage legal entities there if you don't reside there,
I
because of
understand. Yeah.
because of the bureaucracy. And it's not they're not right now moving with the same trend like many countries that digitalizing the process. So sometimes you need to choose: do you want flexibility and predictability and speed, or you decide to move with a little bit lower tax rate, but you can get stuck with a process.
Mm.
Sometimes it's a choice in between. So Georgia, we should say they're starting digitalizing the process, and they are on the way, like Estonia, they are on the way of giving an option for customers to get a speed with the process. And the
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, yeah. Why it's interesting? Because also of low tax rates, and everything also can be done remotely there. About taxes, if your profits are sourced in Hong Kong, the first 2 million Hong Kong's dollars, which about $256,000, is taxed at just 8.25%, which is kind of low tax rate. For sure, not high, and anything above that will be taxed under the 16.5 tax rate, which is Also very, very good tax
I
rate.
guess that's also very interesting residence if you want to make business within Asia.
Right, right, especially if you're targeting Asian market. But it's not all benefits. If most of your income comes from abroad, you may qualify for the zero tax under the Hong Kong territorial system. So I should say that's very interesting. It's still very interesting option because Hong Kong kind of popular for many years. So this is it for now with the most popular options for that our clients choose for many years, and I think the explanation gives a understanding of the reasons why they do it.
Okay, so somebody is watching this video now, and the people are aware that there are other options than having the company just in their country. They are aware of that. So somebody watched this and is now convinced to set up a company, and they come to you. I'm not speaking about somebody that jumps now in the plane and flies to Hong Kong or Delaware and has no idea and goes through the trenches. So they come to you and say, like, Mariia, company. How big is the effort? Of course, you have like an onboarding talk with them. That is time that you bring on the table, that the client brings on the table. But after that, how much they have to do and contribute as their work to have a company?
So, like we already briefly discussed with you, we will be happy to have clients on the board, of course. But answering your question, it depends very much on the jurisdiction. In most of the countries that I mentioned earlier in my list, company setup can be completed within just a few days,
Mhm.
very fast.
And one question, with a few days, you mean also that the company is functioning, including a VAT number and everything?
Look, Stefan, I mean, few days it's a setup of company, but then it depends. Do we need to open a classic bank account, or do we move with a payment system? And I will explain also it a little bit later. If we optimize, if client need to optimize time, then we can open the company and then open the payment system account, and client can start operating already. And in many countries that I mentioned before, if client will work for the export, so the contractors will be mostly outside of the countries of of incorporation, that most likely they will not need the VAT number. So, which means that they will be able to start operating very, very fast, like within a week after the company's
That's
incorporation.
great.
If the payment system will open account fast, because usually compliance in the payment system kind of faster than in the classic bank. But let's speak about it later. I will explain.
Mhm.
So, but in other, especially let's say old Europe jurisdiction, for instance, like Portugal or Spain, things may take significantly longer. Sometimes it's the reasoning even can be you hit a holiday season, like for instance, for in Spain or Portugal,
They have a lot, huh?
August is a month off, right? So it's a month of vacation when everything is canceled and you cannot do anything here. Not only because of hot temperature, but also because everything is closed. So, but the good news is that most modern jurisdictions, the most modern jurisdictions, the process is fully digitalized, and you don't even need to travel to the country to open your company there. Of course, the right documents need to be prepared, and that's where we and our support will be needed in the initial step. In some cases, additional documents, legal agents, or substance requirement may apply. But good lawyers help with everything. The real challenge is not a paperwork. It's choosing the right structure from the start. Fixing mistakes later is always more costly. And with the right services and with the right service providers who will guide you, the process is smooth and predictable. So coming back to your first question about the speed. In practice, the main challenges is often with opening payment accounts. And traditional banks, they're highly
With payment
demanding.
account, you mean really to make payment processing if you have, for example, a e-com shop or something like this?
Right, right. Any kind of business, like you have a company, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that you can start working with this company if you don't have payment account
Yeah.
in the payment system or in the traditional bank. And if taking into account traditional banks, like I say, they are highly demanding when it comes to the compliance checks, and very often they insist on the personal presence of directors or shareholders. So, for instance, if you want to incorporate company in Hong Kong and you want to open bank account also in the Hong Kong, then you need to fly to the Hong Kong to open bank account there. You don't need to fly to the Hong Kong to incorporate company. We'll do it remotely. But to open bank account in Hong Kong, you will need to fly there. But you can incorporate Hong Kong company and open account in the payment system and do it remotely, like AMI, PSP, and
So that would mean practically, if I understand this correctly, let's say somebody that is a freelance graphic designer, but really high level, makes 500,000 euros per year as a graphic designer, only one person goes to Hong or makes the company in Hong Kong. They cannot get a classical bank account without flying there. They can set up the company, but they don't get a bank account. So they have to go over something like a payment processor to have a bank account.
no, just a payment system. Like, I think you're aware like about Revolut, Wise,
Yeah,
Pacers. There are many different right now payment system, which someone calls this neo bank, right?
yeah.
Digital bank, which gives you SWIFT, SEPA, everything. You have IBAN, everything, and you can work absolutely in the same way through them, like with a classical bank. But what I want to say that if you want to have a classical bank, then in most countries you will be, not in all, but in many, you will be required to fly there. And here is a good
Ah.
combination. You can have a company in this jurisdiction, but payment solution in the other jurisdiction. For instance, having some of the payment, some account in the payment system that I already mentioned.
Mm.
And it gives you flexibility. So you can get a benefit from the tax regime of this country, and you will have a payment solution. And in this case, what we do if the business is big and if business want to have both speed and classic, then we incorporate company. We initiate the process of opening account in payment system, which will be fast. And at the point when a client wants and ready to fly to the country where they want to have a classic bank account, it will be the second step. But for the second step, before the second step, client already can use all the system that will serve the business, company and payment system account. So that's how it works, and this will help to save time. So in this way, your business can start operating and receiving payment immediately, right, without waiting for a long time onboarding. And later, once bank account is approved, you can run both in parallel, both accounts.
So, one important aspect is also the legal aspect. Are there some rules to say like, hey, if you live in a country, you cannot make a company in another country? And what about the dividends? What happens with the money you take out of the company where you pay the taxes?
So it's a good question, legal aspects. And here what need to be analyzed a personal tax residency, right? That's what you're right now trying to point out. And here where a client need to think really carefully, where do you actually live? Where are your assets and your family and your business? Why all this matters? Because even if you see yourself as a digital nomad, like flying in between, living in between, the tax authority may see it differently. And one of our clients made a joke, I spent more time in airport lounges than at home, but the German tax office still decided that my home is Germany.
Because he stays only in the airport lounges in Germany, most probably.
No, most probably because his family and
Yeah,
his
in
business
the
there.
German tax authorities, you cannot mess with them, I know. And it's
Yeah.
getting also more stricter than before. So now when you move away and you have like a company, it's like virtually taxed or something like this. This is biting now a lot of my friends in the ass that are living in Germany.
Yeah, many like yeah, that's not only about Germany, it's about many countries because it's about personal tax residency. And here where we need to analyze where is the center of vital interest and choose a country where you want to be a tax resident and study the conditions to obtain the official tax residency certificate. That's the advice we give to our client. And this document is your shield, like your protection against double taxation. So answering your question, where I need to pay where I need to pay taxes from the dividends in the country of your tax residency, and that's a core issue and very important to analyze. Where is the country of your tax residency? What's the tax rate there, and what and how much you need to pay there, and that also need to be analyzed from the very start, from the very beginning, because this part also can be optimized in the beneficial way for you. And the other very important legal aspect is a company level taxation. So, every jurisdiction has its own local rules, and also it has tax benefits. And smart founders, they don't look just as a standard rate. They use available exemptions, reliefs, and regimes to optimize. And it's usually not so obvious for just, let's say, ordinary customers. But in tax, just like in IT, knowledge is a power. So it's very important to have someone who can analyze deeper and find this exemptions, reliefs, and benefits. And the professional tax support, that's what we always recommend to not ignore because it's super important. For instance, of course, we provide guidance with a high expertise in taxation and works with a cooperating accountants around the globe, making sure that our clients always get reliable and high quality tax advices because that's, like I said, super important to be aware of all pros and cons and all options and all rules that are not always obvious. And the right guidance saves your time, money, and plenty of the headaches.
Yeah, that headache is often even the worst case if you have to run. I mean, I see it also in my daily job as affiliate managers mostly. It's the biggest problems are not even like when you have like affiliates that want more payout or the offer is not performing or so. The problem is always happening if there is like a small mistake and you spend hours in fixing just a small
Yeah,
mistake.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, it's like part of also like growth hacking to fix all the small tweaks and mistakes and so on, but it's often that steals all your energy.
So true. So
Speaking
true.
about this kind of problems a bit more, how risky is it to establish a company in another jurisdiction? Are there like chances that you lose your company and your assets there if you there are not based? I mean, for sure, this is happening in some very weird states if there is like a revolution maybe or something like this. But in general, if there is like something like a stability, is this things to be concerned about, or is this not really happening in practical situation as long as you are not making something dodgy?
Mm. It's a good question. I would not really call it risky. To set up a company abroad is more about responsibility and compliance. Every time you add a jurisdiction, you add an extra layer of your legal obligations. More property you get, more obligations coming. It's always that way. And you need to understand and be aware about double tax treaties, cross-border rules, and reporting duties. That's what you need to be aware about. And if you're a citizen of or tax resident of a country with a controlled foreign company rules where you need to report about international company, then yes, your reporting requirements also grow. But this are not dangerous in themselves. This is just things you need to manage properly, like everything you do in your daily routine. And with a good legal support and responsibility attitude to your business, most of these so-called risks are simply routine tasks.
Okay.
But talking about what can happen with a company when there is some force majeure event, like you said. For instance, that's also important to be aware about choosing a country with a stable regime and stable legal aspects, which will help to protect assets and everything in the worst case scenario. But if to take into account the classical IT business, which is online, right? Money is also online, let's say. It's
Yeah,
also
it
digital.
is.
They're not present if you're in corporate company somewhere. They don't stay even in the bank. They're online on your bank account. And here what's important to know that some bank or payment solution give a guarantee. Usually it's for either 100,000 dollars or more
Yeah.
to guarantee if something happens with your account or money on your account, then it will be protected with this guaranteed amount of sum. If to talk about property, it's not very popular case when a company puts real property and register it on itself. Usually, it's more about attached to the person, but property is always, if we're talking about well-developed country, it's always protected by government. So if something
It's more
happens,
like if you would make like a gold mine somewhere in a revolutionary state in Africa, and they say like, okay, now the new regime kicks out all the foreigners and claims this mine. I mean, this kind of things happened like in the past very often with oil companies and mines and so on, that the colonial corporates are getting kicked out and they take it. Not somebody is like Digital Nomad goes to Cyprus and they say like, yeah, now we keep your company.
that's what I'm telling, right? About well-developed country with a developed legislation. So, of course, and that's what we've been also discussed about predictability. So before choosing the jurisdiction, we need to see how long this country is serving in a good way their clients to make some conclusion that we can predict that this kind of pattern, this kind of system will serve longer.
Um, so actually, we have one more question here about what size of the business we are speaking. It makes sense to use your service. If you are a freelancer, let's say, I know people that are working as freelancers, virtual assistant, $800 per month or something like this. It don't make sense to go to you and say, hey, set me up now a Delaware company or so. So, what are amounts of money where you say, like, now it's interesting to go to a professional company and set up a company in a different place?
So, talking about money, which always important, right? It's a
Maybe it's too easy when I say it's about money. I mean, in
no,
general,
it's a
when
good
it's
question.
recommended to come, yeah.
Yeah, let me try to answer this question. So, from the legal perspective, it's not just about revenue size. Of course, if you're talking about just a few thousand euros of profit per year, incorporation may not be cost effective since the maintenance of a company usually starts from several thousand dollars annually.
Mm.
And this includes state fees, registered office, local agent service compliance, and ongoing legal support. But that said, even with a profit below 100K per year, which might be 10, 20, and more, incorporation can already make sense. For example, in the UAE, small business under the threshold, which is $800,000 a year around, pay zero corporate tax. So the tax savings can outweigh the cost of maintaining the company. That's what we always explaining our clients. Make a math, calculate, right? How many you will save on the taxes and how many you will pay for company maintenance.
Can you give a rough number how much it is, let's say, for a smaller company to maintain their business for 1 year in Dubai? So with all the I'm not even
Oh,
speaking about the setup fee. That's a different thing, and you make it for sure individual. But let's say somebody sets up a company, very basic bank account, Dubai, office address, and that's it, the minimum.
depends on how many visas you will need for this company, how many employers you will need to have in this company. It might be no employees, but
Yeah.
you might need to relocate some, like because you want them to relocate, not because you need
Really,
it.
really as basic as it gets. So you need one visa for yourself and you have nobody that you employ.
But to give just very general overview, I should say that a minimum standard that you need to rely on for company incorporation having visa, bank account will be around 10K a year, around.
$10,000.
Yeah, a year in
Okay.
UAE. But it's very general. It's very general. And it needs to be detailized, taking into account many aspects.
Yeah,
So,
that's a number that people can decide. If somebody is watching this now, it makes
yeah,
30K. It's most probably not worth it to go there for them if they pay.
for sure, because like I said, you may save a good portion of your margin of your revenue uh, on this taxation. Moreover, like answering your question, yeah, about how much money you need to pay and why it's worthwhile to register. A company when can choose where to be registered, let's say, in an allegoric way, and benefit from the treaties, the tax breaks or exemption that indeed individuals usually cannot access since their tax residency is tied to where they actually live. So that's a very big benefit for business. A business can choose where to have a company and where to be registered. And beyond taxes, incorporation is about limiting liability. That's what crucially important to understand. As a sole individual provider, like when you're providing services like like a private entrepreneur or like freelancer that you said, you're personally responsible with all your assets for debts or claims. A company structure shows you, it protects you. Your liability is liability to company's assets. And usually it's limited to your share capital. So your liability will be limited to the amount of your participation in the share capital of the company. And other advantages, of course, includes credibility, like we've already discussed briefly. Clients, bank, and investors often prefer dealing with a legal entity rather than an individual.
We had also situations with our recruitment agency that we could not recruit for certain companies that had like their companies in countries where it's very hard for us to make business. And where I had, for example, my first bank account here in Romania, it was very restricted, and I got one-time money from Singapore, and they were freezing my bank account. I had to go there, and I had to give practically a report about what this is, even when it was like clearly stated, like marketing services, online traffic, or something like that. So I had to come and I had to explain why I make a business with a company in Singapore. It's an international business. Of course, I make money with everybody that comes. And it was not
Right.
even like a gigantic amount. It was not that they were sending me like 1 million. We are
Yeah.
speaking, I'm not even sure if it was over 1,000, and it already was
It
triggering
happens a
some.
lot. Yeah, yeah, I know. It happens a lot. So that's another the other reason access to banking, international banking and payment system, and many providers require also a company account. And if you have a company, international company, and you have account in their good payment system or good bank, then it will help and it will take out these questions. Why do you work internationally? And why do you
Yeah.
receive payments from Singapore, Hong Kong, US, UK? Because it's an international business and we live in the international world, and it's normal right now.
Now they understood it and I have peace, but still it was annoying. It actually happened, I
Very
think,
good.
even 3 times until they got into groove that I'm not doing there something like weird. It's just that I work online.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, the last point that I have is not really a question. It's the so-called golden nugget. It's to share the best, in your case, I assume, legal advice that you can share, that we have not heard 100 times. But of course, if you want to share another advice, like where to buy the new sofa, the best, then you say buy it at sofacheap.com. That's also a good advice. And I can assure you this we haven't heard 100 times. But please, I assume that you have prepared something that is a bit more sophisticated than buying a canapé.
So, just to sum up everything that we have discussed with you, the golden nugget is the cheapest and the safest way to run your business internationally is to structure it properly from the day one. That's it,
And for this, you best need professional help.
of course.
So, speaking about this, I asked Maria, hey, if you want, you can put here now some advertising and so on. And I think what she offers is very valuable, especially in this dynamic world that we are living in. Until this year, or until I met her in Barcelona, I was not even aware that Georgia and Qatar can be interesting business option. I was only knowing the usual suspect. So she really knows her stuff. And if you want to work with her and give it a try, she has also a free 1 hour consultancy offered for everybody that is watching this podcast. You can just refer to the code AFPAL under dot. I will put it in the claim in the caption as well. Dilex 25, and or you just tell her that you come from the podcast. I think that works as well, and you can learn for 1 hour more what setup would make sense, and then you can decide if you want to proceed using her service. So for me, it was very interesting. Not the most easiest thing for me to digest, I have to say that, but a lot of things to learn. So Maria, thank you very much for joining us today, shining some light on legal setups. And I hope that, or I'm sure that a lot of guys that are watching this and are seeing it maybe in the newsletters and so on are reaching out to you to use this 1 hour to the maximum.
Stefan, thank you so much for inviting me and having such an interesting, deep, and like always with joke and kind of fun conversations. That's what I really appreciate, that you find this balance between very professional side, but very also human being, deep human being side. I really appreciate it about your personality. Happy to meet you in Barcelona, and hopefully we will meet in many other conferences. And thank you for your input in the developing the IT, not only affiliate business, but in general digital services. You're doing a great job.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for this kind words. Then I wish you a fantastic weekend, lots of success, lots of challenges in some countries where your clients are, your people that are not your clients are yet, and
Yeah.
a lot of good openings with chances all over the world. Mariia, thank you very much. Have a
Thanks
good
a
one.
lot. You too. Have a
Bye.
great day. Bye.